check the line, who's next to go? Yeah, who's next to go? I check the line, who's next to go?
Bondzee live, Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube. Or a skank code like you told me. So what should I do next though?
Put that ET over that place.
Put that ET looking bitch in her place. Use it, damn savage, little man. Fuck. I called her a skank code like you told me. So what should I do next though?
Put ET over that place.
Put that ET looking bitch in her place. Use it, damn savage, little man. Fuck. I called her a skank code like.
You gotta love it, eh, man? The things kids can do with the intraweb these days. How the hell are you? It's Bondzee. Bondzee live on Trippin With Bondzee on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're at episode 275. 275. I mean, episode 275. Make sure you go subscribe and all the accoutrements out there, whatever you call it. There's I just rhymed them all off. TikTok too, and especially go subscribe to YouTube. Thank you. That's where you should be watching the show. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Sorry, not sorry for missing the show last night. It's not like I missed it. We're here now. It just got sort of bumped one night. That's all. Same time, same place, just a different day, one day later. That's what happens when your kids let you know, hey, we're coming down, and they ended up staying another day, which, listen, anytime you get to spend it with the kids, it's a great time, especially when they're not really kids anymore and they're grown adults and they do their own thing and, you know what, 25 and 21, but they still make time to come down and see good old dad. That's right. We had a wonderful time. It's such a blast getting to see it. Like, look at how handsome these two are. Like, let's not get a kidder here. I mean, if I did one thing right on this planet, it was help make pretty good kids. 50% share I did. There they are. We even got Tucker in there. There's my nephew in the background, Christopher. Big shout out to him. We had a great time. We played games. They played the video games. I'm not a big video game guy. I'll sit there and cheer you on. What else? We played Cards Against Humanity, which is awesome. We smashed some great food. We had some good laughs for sure as well. It's always a great time with my kids, that's for sure. So anyways, here we are tonight. What else? Basically, tonight, my guest, he's a travel expert. I don't know what else to call him. He's literally traveled around the world. I don't know how much he's got left to see, but I don't think there's too much left after twice. He's got some amazing stories, and he's here to tell you how to do it. So if you're thinking, you know what, I'm really sick and tired of this 9 to 5 fucking bullshit, I'm just going to sell everything, sell my house, sell everything I own, like these people did twice, and travel the world. And that's what they're doing, and living the dream. And they'll tell you how they did it and how you can do it too. All right, he's coming up in about 10, 15 minutes. All right, what else we got? Some great guests coming up. I mentioned JJ Wild. She's going to be coming on the show in the next little while. Bill Welechka from Much Music fame. He's just written a book, and he's going to be doing a big book tour. He's going to come on here and promote the hell out of it. We've also got one of the best surfers in Nicaragua coming up. His name's Tito. He's hilarious. He's got some great stories, and you got to see some of the videos of him surfing. Will blow your mind. Next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got a great band called Kojak. Their second appearance on Old Trippin With Bondzee. Amazing band from Prince Edward County, if you ask them. If you ask me, they're from the Belleville, Kingston area, which is not a bad area to be from music-wise. You know what I'm saying? Some amazing bands that come out from that area for sure. It is a music mecca. So stay tuned. We got some really cool stuff coming up and some great guests coming up over the next little while. Tonight, we got Dummies of the Week. Also, I got a rant about people who have subtitles on when you don't need them. You know what I'm saying? For instance, my brother, we were over there last night watching a movie. And it's not just last night. It's every fucking time I go over there, they have the subtitles on every TV. For what reason? Is one of them deaf? No, not at all. They just like to have the subtitles on. I've never met anything more annoying than trying to watch a movie and focus on the movie and then but being distracted by the subtitles at the bottom, because ultimately that's what happens. I can't wrap my head around it. I ask every time. And so they take it off for poor sucky baby Greg. But listen, it drives me nuts. Because am I the only one here that gets sucked into reading the movie instead of watching the movie and watching their facial reactions and stuff? Subtitles suck when you don't need them on your TV. There, rant over. Got that out of the way early and quickly. Haven't even got to the sponsors yet. Bonzee's already ranting. Wow, the subtitles are on my brother's TV. Listen, it's stupid. There's just no need for it if you don't need it. Wonderful invention if you need it. Well done. But when you don't need it, turn the goddamn things off. I was using it. There was a beneficial time, and there is a time and a place to use these stupid subtitles. When I was trying to learn Spanish a lot, I would watch shit in English, but have the Spanish subtitles so that I could learn Spanish a lot easier. And it works. That's how a lot of Spanish people learned how to speak English, or are learning how to speak English. I'm still working on mine. Oh man, what else we got? Shows brought to you by Shakespeare's Fine Dining. Let's get that out of the way first and foremost. I'm telling you, folks, if you are in the Hamilton area, you got to do yourself a favor. Maybe you got a new girlfriend, or maybe you got some old haggy, you've been with her for years and stuff, and you probably owe her a nice dinner, right? At this point. So whatever be the case, take that lovely person, trops yourself down to the Shakespeare's Fine Dining right there on Main Street. This is the building. It's been there forever. It don't look like much on the outside, but don't let the cover fool you. You know what I'm saying? Because on the inside, it's going to be the best service you've ever had. It's going to be the best steak and seafood you've ever had. Everything in there is top notch. It's to die for. Please make a reservation though. 905-528-0689. Do not waltz up there, knock on the door, or try and get in and say, yeah, can I have a table for two, please? No, probably not, because they're full, because they're that good. The celebrities come from Toronto, all the hockey players, the movie stars. The pictures are on the wall inside to prove it. I'm telling you, it's that good. Got to go at Shakespeare's Fine Dining. Okay, good. Got it. Great. Funny story. Funny, not so funny. And this is more of a, how do you say, a public service announcement for all you people out there to beware. Scamming season is upon us. Does it ever really go away? I don't even know when scamming season is, but it seems like these days, especially like in the late 2022s, 23, 24s, scammers be everywhere. I mean, you can't literally every morning is like I see people like Facebook has been hacked, their bank accounts are empty because it got hacked. There's just so many dirty little slobs out there. They're too lazy to go and get a goddamn job or put their smarts to use. They got to be scammers, because it's just it's too easy these days to be a scammer, and so many people fall sucker and victim for it. And a lot of the times unknowingly, unwillingly, of course. Anyways, I got scammed. Now, I got lucky because I knew something was up. Now, what happened? Well, I'll tell the whole story. It goes like this. I had just got back from Nicaragua, and I got an email from a production company saying they saw my profile on All Casting, blah, blah, blah. And they really like my look and want to hire me for the role of something in a Chat GPT commercial filming in Toronto mid-February. So I was like, all right, that looks great. So the contract they sent everything looked legit. I had a little weird feeling in my stomach, so I did some research online. I could not find bad press about them anywhere. And so I thought, well, okay, let's forge ahead. I'd be better if we could hear you. Why can't you hear me? Turn up your hearing aids, Wade. I'm talking directly into the microphone. Let me check my everything audio input, Scarlett. Everything seems to be on the up and up. It's try your volume, Buster. Everything's cranked on my end. Anybody else having a problem with the sound? Anyways, I will forward John. So I ended up signing the contract. I said, yes, I was available. Yes, I would accept this payment at this time, this payment when I walk in, and then final payment at the end of the shoot. Wade says still no volume. Let's check the master. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Monique says she can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, I think it's you, Wade. I mean, you are in the middle of God knows where in Mexico right now. So I think it's you, bro. To be honest with you, everybody else seems to be hearing me fine. John Falcon, thanks for tuning in from Aurelia up there. And so, yeah, anyways, I signed this contract. They sent me a check. And in between me signing the contract and them signing me a check, sent me a check. I talked to my buddy manager, Jason, who works in the banking industry, let's say in the fraudulent department. So he's very versed on this. And right away, he knew the scam. He knew what was happening. And everybody else says they've got good sound too. So it's just you, Wade. Maybe do a reboot. Anyway, so yeah, so he totally told me how it was going to go, and he wasn't wrong. He nailed it verbatim. So they send the check, and well, now that I already knew that this was a scam, upon further investigation, we did find out a whole bunch of stuff on them. And anyways, it turns out they sent me a check for $4,300. And out of that, I was supposed to send them back $500 as the signing contract fee, whatever. Which should have been a red flag for me at first. But again, I forgot to preface the story by saying I just got back from Nicaragua. I just had my second mini stroke the day before. I was in the hospital all day Thursday after landing at midnight. And this is when all this went down. And I might not have been thinking super clearly. And I was excited because I was getting this big role and it was a nice paycheck. And I was like, woohoo. And so yeah, anyways, I got caught up in the moment for a second, but then once I dialed it in and reeled it in, I got looking at I just had this gut feeling like it seemed too good to be true. And so me and Sarge had a big chat about it, and she's like, "Oh, Gregory Scott, I think the old adage. I think you've said it too before. It's like if it's too good to be true, Gregory Scott, then it probably is." And I was like, "I know, yeah, I think you're right, Mom. Actually, for once, no, I'm just kidding. Sarge is always right, believe it or not." Anyway, so we started. We thought, well, listen, we're gonna scam the scammers. So the deal was, as soon as I got the check, I was supposed to cash it, send them $500, and then I had to go buy some wardrobe with some of the money, and then the rest was mine. Well, we decided to tell them that, yes, I got the check because I could see that, but I'm way up north on another film location, and we got snowed in, and the filming's been delayed, so I can't cash the check. And so they started to get a little nervous because this is what they're amateurs, like total amateurs. My buddy called every move that they've been doing, and they're right on track. So, and they have no idea. We're totally playing along with them. And where the big reveal's coming up in the next couple days. So they think they're going to scam me, but we scamming the scammers, baby. So I'll let you know how it works out. It's pretty funny. It's funny, not funny, because, I caught on, but a lot of people, they get caught up in this and they get too excited. And yeah, Wade definitely is probably at a few pops down in Mexico there for sure, John. That's for sure. Yeah, 100%. I got to go back and hide his message because nobody wants to see that anymore. Yeah. So anyways, I didn't get schmamboozled, but I know other people did. So listen, I guess the moral of the story of this whole nonsense is, don't get scammed by the scammers. It's a dog ass nasty world out there, man. And it's just people like to scam people instead of going and getting a real job. You know what I mean? And it's just easy to do, and too many people sadly fall victim to it. So live by these rules. If it's too good to be true, says Sarge, then it's probably too good to be true. So there you go. It usually is if it's too good to be true. And number two, your gut, man. Just always go with your gut. If you think something's off, double check it, triple check it. And yeah, don't get scammed. And if you do, well, I'm really sorry. What else? Auditions. I got a whole whack of them last week. 6 to be exact, 1 in person. I'll talk about the one in person in a second because it was kind of strange, actually. 4 of them were online. 5 of them were online and 1 was in person, and I got 1 of them, which was really cool. And what I had to do was they asked me to come online and give them my best death stare while saying these lines. So I did something, and I'm not going to do it now because I actually got the role, and you guys, I'll have to wait and see it when it's actually done because it just won't look the same here. I'm going to be in all this prosthetics, and I nailed it because as soon as I did it, I don't think they were expecting what they got, and they were blown away, and they're like, yeah, actually, we have nothing else for you. That was so goddamn good. We'll let you know in the next few days if you get the job. 2 hours later, I got an email from them saying, yep, you got the job. That was amazing. You blew us away. And so I really can't wait to do that. That's coming up in a couple weeks. I can't wait to see what they dress me up as. I'm like this. I think the only thing I can say is I'm a dead dad who's like zombie-ish, if you will, sort of like out of The Walking Dead. That's all I know. But I blew them away with my death evil stare in a crazy voice. So how about that? Then I did another one and totally blew it. I did not get it. They were like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's just not what we're looking for. And then there was one more. Oh, the in-person audition was pretty wild. So I get there, I'm 25 minutes early. They bring you up this elevator and somebody has to come down and get you. So you go up to this top floor and it's the Toronto Film Studio. And so it was a little like, it was cool being in there for first and foremost, but I was expecting to see all these people standing around and like rehearsing their lines and looking at their side sheets and just, in the zone and doing all that. And I thought it'd be all this hustle and bustle. There was not a fucking soul to be seen anywhere except the director and his friend who was there to help out. She was some sort of PD herself or whatever, assistant director. And anyways, they were like, yeah, nobody's here. A couple of people are lost and they can't find the building. So, you want to go now? And I was prepared, but I wasn't really prepared to just sort of walk in and go. You know what I mean? So anyways, I asked if I could tinkle first, and they was like, yes, of course. So I went and did that, went over my lines once more in my head while I took a whiz. And then I came back and buddy's like, stand there. I stood there. He's like, slate your name, where you're from, and go. And then I did it. And it was like, I was literally in there for about 7 minutes in total. And it was over as soon as it started. And they were like, that was great. Really appreciate it. You take care. Thanks. Bye. And it was right at the corner of Yonge and Dundas. So when it came out, it was pretty happening. It was dark. It was like 6:45, and I couldn't believe the hustle and bustle down there. So it was really cool. So I walked around for a bit. I got some what do you call it? I filmed a couple of content things, and one of them actually was one of the biggest content pieces I've ever done in the YouTube shorts, and the views around here. It was nonsense. Anyway, so I guess maybe I should start doing some more of those. But it was a great experience. I don't think I did my best at the in-person one because even though I walked in there with a lot of confidence, which I did, I still think subconsciously it was like I was pretty nervous, probably because it was my first one, even though there was nobody there. But I did kill it. I was a tennis dad who's filthy rich, and I sort of bully my daughter's friend and say, you better not be better than my daughter, or I'm not going to pay you any more money. Okay. So I don't know how I did. They said they'll let me know by this Sunday if I get that one. But listen, I'm having a great time with this. It's so much fun. And listen, I'm only going to get better and better at doing auditions online and in person. In person is definitely different. That's for sure. I could feel that feeling in your chest where you don't get that online when you're doing it. You can do it over and over until you get it right on camera and then send it in. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot different for sure. What else? Yeah, I literally drove to Toronto from here. It's like you should take an hour and 10 minutes to get to where I was. It took about an hour and 20 to get there. It took about 50 on the way back. So it was super awesome. I was like down there, back, watched the whole Leaf game minus like 3 minutes I might have missed, and had a wicked steak dinner with my buddy. And it was a great Saturday night. It was pretty cool because you don't usually get to and fro Toronto that quick. That's for sure. What else? Oh, I think, what time is it? No, it's 9:20. Okay, I'm gonna get to my guest instead, and I'll save the stories for after. I'm gonna talk about this documentary I might be filming. Well, I think we're filming it for sure. I just don't know when. And I'll give you more details on it. It's an Iboga ceremony. Iboga. It's like ayahuasca. There's a retreat in Mexico that a friend of mine owns, and I think there's a good chance that we're going to put something together where I go down there and continue this journey that I'm on of healing from my PTSD and the trauma of life, and watching kids get it and smoked by a train and finding their pile of mush body 10 minutes later. Anyways, I move on. I digress. Without further ado, this guy's traveled the world, and I'm pretty sure he's seen some pretty crazy things, and we're about to find out. Please welcome to the show. It's Dave Cleaver, Mr. C. How are you, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Greg. Yeah, very well. Thank you very much. First time on here. On the scamming front, I got scammed in March in Thailand. Very simple. They take your credit card. They say they have the machine, but they take it from you. They put it below the counter, make a note of the number and the security code on the back, give it back to you. Very, very quick, very slick. And they caught me. I looked, my gut feeling like yours, I looked that night, and sure enough, some guy used it to buy some mobile data. So I blocked it, made a Skype call to England and blocked it. And it took a few months to sort out. It was no big deal, but that gut feeling is what will get you past it. You cannot trust anybody. So yeah, good luck to anybody that thinks they've been scammed. Work on it.
For sure, for sure. And it's especially extra sketchy when you're at those ladyboy facilities trying to pay with a credit card, Dave.
Absolutely. That was the a friend of mine ran out of one of those places in tears, screaming, it's a boy. He never went back to Thailand again.
Yeah, I'm never going there either. There's a reason why I stay away from these places. Well, and drugs aren't very accepted over there too, are they?
July 31st, 2022, they legalized marijuana in Thailand. I don't partake. I have tried once, coughed my guts up, but a lot of smoke shops have appeared in Thailand. Funnily enough, vapes are against the law and you can get in a lot of trouble. I don't smoke either, but you can go get marijuana and sit in a smoke shop and, you know, talk about the meaning of life all night if you want now in say, for example, in any of the islands, mainly Koh Samui because it's so big. There are smoke shops everywhere. In that first year, that August of 22, there was a couple of shops. Back in March, April last year, they were everywhere. And a lot of them are closing down now because the product is not good, is what I'm led to believe. I don't partake. I just get high on life. No, that's so corny. No, I just look in the mirror.
High off the beauty from Mrs. C, right? That's what you're getting high off of.
Yeah, right. Okay. There are people watching this. They can see, you know, they can see I'm 100.
Well, listen, let's introduce yourself. Well, we've introduced you. You're Dave, and you travel with your wonderful wife, Mrs. C. You've been at this for quite some time now.
November 2016, and I believe we met you about a year later in San Juan del Sur. We caught you with that man in that corner with a jar of mayonnaise. I seem to remember. Yeah.
I don't quite remember it like that.
I've never seen it done that way. Never seen it done. Luckily, I've got the picture, so that's okay. But yeah,
hallelujah.
We live a very unconventional life, Greg. Where I'm 66, my wife's 61, and we, for the second or maybe sort of the third time in our lives together, we've been together 40 years. And we've sold everything we own. We don't own anything back in England, and right now I'm in Florida with some friends, and we travel the whole time. We're on the road nearly all of the time. We have been home a couple of times, once for COVID, once to renew my passport, once for a family matter, but generally for 6-7 years now, we've been on the road. In 6 years, in 6 more years, this sounds weird, in 6 more years we will be poor. We're running on what's left of my private pension, and I recently qualified for a state pension in England, so I get a little bit of that, and that's pretty much what we do it on. So we watch every penny. That's
crazy. So back Now, you did do this back in 1987, I believe, was the first time you sold everything and up and traveled the world. You went to some amazing spots back then, yeah, and had some wild adventures.
We sure did. Yeah, we were totally green, of course, back then. We bought a ticket for then what was £1,000, a lot of money in 1987.
Sure.
But around the world ticket, which ran for, we managed to extend it to 18 months or maybe 2 years. Specific stops, but we kept doing these little detours. For example, instead of going India to Thailand, we went India and we traveled up through the Himalayas, through Nepal and into Tibet, and then all the way through China, when really there were, not that many people doing it back then. There was an earthquake, there was a landslide, all kinds of things. We actually ended up in a Chinese prison in Xi'an when we went to see the Terracotta Warriors. We had a little bit of an altercation I had an altercation with a guy that was, back in that day, a rickshaw was powered by a human. It was the big back wheels and he would lift up the two front handles and off you go. And he took us to the police station to extend our passports, extend our visa. And it was the one time I didn't negotiate. One of the golden rules any traveler will tell you, you've got to barter, you've got to agree a price and say yes or no. And I didn't do it. And there was an altercation regarding what he wanted to charge me. I don't remember the figures. It wasn't a lot of money. It was more the principle. So he came up, he physically assaulted me. Not a big deal. Pushed me in the chest. I nearly went over. But obviously, as you can see, I'm a natural athlete. So
pure born athlete, I could tell.
Didn't go over. No. I mean, I just, I was fine. And I retaliated. Probably shouldn't have done it, but he was Chinese. Nobody likes the Chinese. So I pushed him back. And back then, no exaggeration, there was 20, 30 people watching the whole thing. My wife's blonde. So they're like, what's this funny hair color? It literally used to be like that. I'm about 6 foot. They're all, little tiny people. So that's how they make all those electronics. They've got the tiny fingers. And so that's it. Next thing I know, the police, we were right by the police station because it was the end of the journey. They took us inside, put us straight into a cell, me, Mrs. C, and a friend we were traveling with. And we were in there 7 hours. And it was hairy at times because they took your passport. They took everything. So it was worrying. After 5 hours, they let us out. There was a conversation with a girl that spoke a tiny bit of English. And unfortunately, there's an old thing in England, okay, that this is really old school. I doubt anybody has heard of this. Maybe if they've seen some old movies. You shake on a deal, you shake hands. But in England, you spit on your hand and you shake hands and that's it, yeah? Well, I did that with this guy and it didn't go down very well at all. Chinese culture, whatever it is, CCP, communist, I don't know, who knows? So they put us back in the cell for 2 more hours. We got away with it in the end. My punishment was I had to write a letter of apology to the people of the Republic of China, to the rickshaw driver, and to the police superintendent. So I just wrote down as many long words with as many syllables as I could, muster, that really basically made fun of the whole situation, and they accepted that as a letter and they let us go, and they gave us an extra month so we could get up and see the Great Wall and do all that kind of thing. But I'm joking a bit, but it was a bit of a problem. Mrs. C was not best pleased when I did the spitting thing, but she forgave me because here we are 30 years later or whatever it is. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Go back to China, but never again. Not these days. I wouldn't go back now.
No way. Yeah.
We can't get into China and what they're doing. So I'm just not the right format for that. But but that was crazy, and that was our first really big, I think, really kind of weird experience. So yeah.
That put a huge taste in your mouth of this traveling. You did that for 18 months. You come home, you sort of start over again, or what?
No, we did 5 years. I worked in
5 years. Jesus.
Hong Kong was still in British rule then, rightly so. And we did some work there. I worked in a film studio because the Hong Kong movie scene is big even now, and bizarrely they wanted actors to dub American accents over the Chinese, Hong Kong Chinese guys that were doing mainly the martial arts stuff, So I did a bit of that. did a little bit of diving before the days when you needed a PADI course, bit of English teaching. And then we made enough money to move on to Australia, did some work there, worked in an amusement arcade, did the fruit picking. That lasted 15 minutes. It was so bloody hot. Worked in a
You had a
petrol
pretty
station.
crazy experience at, was it Red Rock or one of those places in Australia?
On the way out to Ayers Rock. So you go north
Ayers Rock.
north from Adelaide, as though you were going, you know, like a million miles north is Darwin, halfway is Alice Springs. But if you turn left, it's about 250 kilometers, about 160 miles out to Ayers Rock, which it was Ayers Rock then. Now they call it Uluru because they've given it back to the indigenous people, rightly so. And we're on the way out there, and there was a roadblock, and there was an old car in the road that had clearly burnt out. There was nothing to it; it was just a shell, a chassis. And then there was about 6 Aboriginal guys. I mean, literally in rags, like almost like loincloths, and they stood in the road, put their hands up, and blocked us. I managed to get past them without running anybody over. And there's only one, in those days, there was one gas station between the main road going to Darwin, north, or Adelaide south, and going out west towards Ayers Rock. Pulled into the gas station, petrol station, and I spoke to a cop there, explained what happened. He said, seriously, you're very lucky. There's been murders and rapes out on that road where they just stop anybody and everybody as best they can. It's random. And they just take everything. He said, he looked without any compunction. He looked at my wife and said, she'd have got raped. You'd have probably got killed. You'd have lost everything. It was truly, you know, kind of a scary experience.
Got your attention.
We had been told you can't trust anybody out there in the outback. You do not want to get stuck out there. So, yeah, that was a hairy one.
Noted, not going to the outback.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll leave that to the crocodile hunter or whatever.
Yeah. We made enough money after that managing the small amusement arcade in Newcastle, which is north of Sydney, and that got us to New Zealand. And then from there we eventually got to the States. And again, back then, this is 88, 89, 90, we ended up staying in the States 2 or 3 years because back then you could work for cash without too much trouble.
Right.
So worked as a limo driver in San Francisco. Worked for a movie director in Santa Monica. Not a big A-lister, but at the time he was doing okay. He produced and wrote the early Moonlighting with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. So we worked for them for a while. Then we got some work out in Bakersfield, which led us to our love of Las Vegas because it's only 4 hours over the mountains and you're in Vegas. So we used to go there and play poker. That was great.
Right.
But we managed to stretch it out to 5 years because we kept doing little jobs, you know, working when we could. And then we would work a little contract and then leave and do a bit more traveling. And really, we only went home because Mrs. C fell pregnant, courtesy of my guys, of course, good swimmers. And that was it. And we were back to the land of the living for really about 25 years before we started again. And actually, our son now is kind of following in our footsteps. He's out in Australia now. He's met what might be the love of his life. She's from Holland. He's out there working properly on a proper visa. So I mean, we've been very lucky, Greg. It's a very unusual lifestyle for 2 old farts like me and Mrs. C, because you give up everything. People think you're mad, but it's fantastic.
That's what it was. We'll get into this. I mean, it isn't for everybody. I mean, I've done it. I've had some really good friends that have done it now, and you guys have done it twice. And what would you tell somebody? Like a lot of people do talk about doing it. They are scared. You know, it's a huge commitment to sort of just sell everything you own and go travel the world.
Yeah.
But you did it. A lot of people have done it. What would be your best advice to somebody who's scared to take that leap?
The thing is that you have to work out a budget. You've got to work out what you really value at home. And of course, the conventional lifestyle is, you know, go to school, go to college, whatever, university, get a job, and that's it. Get your mortgage, pay. I might be a little bit outdated here, again, because I'm old. Young people might not look at it that way, but there is a kind of a conventional lifestyle, you know, that people have, and we've completely bucked that trend. mainly because of our age. Young people are probably doing it, and we don't know so much. But for us to go back home with nothing, so to speak, to not own anything is tricky. So what you've got to do is you've got to go on not a traditional holiday, but on a holiday and get a feel for it. And you've really got to try to imagine what it would be like if you had nothing at home, or if you're lucky enough to have a little bit at home and you can rent it out to pay your way. And if you've got some savings, try it. And if you like it, that's fantastic. But it is a risk. It is unconventional. People do advise you against it. Your family and friends, your nearest and dearest, will say, you can't do this, for a myriad of reasons. But really, once you get into it, it's fantastic. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. It is fantastic. I might regret it in 6 years when we're poor. And when I say poor, I'm talking about we'll just be living on our 2 state pensions in England, and we'll probably be all right, but there'll be no more traveling. Our plans for this coming year, we've been incredibly lucky to meet some lovely people, including yourself, sort of. And, you make your own luck. People go, oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky. You do make your own luck.
Sure.
Like your good self, Greg, like your good self. Look, I've followed what you've been doing since I've only seen you once. I followed what you're doing, and I love it. It's fantastic, and all good.
Awesome.
And we've got some great stuff coming up.
Yeah, that's great. Like, people worry about accommodations long term. They worry about especially healthcare. Take us through that. How long do you plan in advance to stay in each spot, and then do you continue to plan along the way, or do you have something planned out for a year? And then the healthcare, how do you take care of that?
First of all, healthcare is a huge problem. Once I turned 65, just over a year ago, my health insurance went from, probably a ballpark figure of about £400 a year. So £400 in Canadian, that's probably about, what would that be? $900
bucks, $800.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, think about that.
But it went from that, and it probably went up 5 or 6 times that. And anybody listening now that haven't made up their mind on who I am, they're going to go, you're an idiot, because I don't have any health insurance, because it's so expensive. If the worst came to the worst, I'd have to fly home, because in England you get your National Health Service, which is in bad shape these days. But absolutely, if you're under 65, maybe even give or take, you will get health insurance, and I would advise you to get it. I just fell off a ladder last week helping a friend bring down a tree. Sounds funny. It was funny at the time, but I cracked a rib and it was painful. But I've got nowhere to go with that. A couple of weeks ago, I had conjunctivitis. Now, ironically, a lady that I'd helped with something, turns out her husband's a plastic surgeon. He wrote me a dodgy prescription. Next thing I know, I've got the right thing to fix it. So I'm lucky. Now, they're not things that you run home for, of course.
Right.
But so healthcare, absolutely. So I'm crazy not having any at all. Get your healthcare is the advice I would give, unless you are, a bit crazy. Planning ahead. We don't really do too much. Again, we're fortunate. We're in Florida right now. We have 90 days in the US. So we have to go somewhere on March the 17th, which is our last day. As it happens, we're going to run home and attend to a family matter. And then we'll only be home a month. And then we're probably going to come back out here initially with plans to go back into Asia for the summer. And then ultimately, I want to get out to Australia for their next summer and find my son and see what he's up to doing. And in Australia, you can do Aussie house sitters and maybe house sit for free, that sort of thing. I have a very good friend here who is on the cusp of buying a boat to go through the Caribbean. He's going up to see it in the next day or two, and we'll be on that with him. So again, Greg, what happens is you just meet people. And if you're a lovely human being, which I am, Mrs. C is as well, we help people, we do stuff for people all the time, or, if called upon. Yeah. And it kind of comes back at you. I don't want to get too, deep or spiritual or anything like that, but it does come back at you. We've been incredibly lucky. In Canada ourselves, we've done some stuff in Canada a couple of years ago, built a cabin out near Bancroft,
nice.
a few hours north of Toronto,
yeah.
as you know. And those were people we met in Mexico 6 years ago. So,
Amazing.
I can't remember what your question was because I'm old, I'm 100.
Yeah.
Get health insurance, make sure you really want to do it, do a test run. If you've got some savings, dip into them. You've got to speculate to accumulate, dip into them, try it, see how you get on. Really think it's so hard to concentrate and go, okay, do I really want to do this? Because when you start selling stuff and getting rid of, you've got to remember, you own your belongings. They don't own you. So as much as you think you want it, get rid, put it in storage, but put it in storage if it's free, give it to a relative, whatever.
How much of this world have you got left to see, Dave? You and your wife have been to so many places and seen so much. How much of this world do we got left?
Actually, we actually haven't been to South America because the C word, and I'm talking about COVID. We had planned, we were going to go into Colombia and work down and go down through Peru and Chile and all that kind of thing. And then COVID hit. So in the end, we went to, I think that year we went to Costa Rica and Mexico, because they were the two countries that we could get away with that weren't closed to the big scam. The big virus that was COVID.
It's a little slip of the tongue there.
Yeah. Oh, am I going to get myocarditis? Oh no, because I haven't had the jab. So we managed to get in that year. That was great. It turned out great because we met great people. But so actually South America, so what might happen there is if my friend does buy the boat, we're going to his brother lives in Grenada, so we'll probably head down to there. And then really Grenada's not that far off the northern tip of South America, which would be somewhere in South America. I can't remember because I haven't been there. So that's the last continent.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So how long do you stay in each place for? Is there a timeline? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? And then you plan from there? How does that work?
What you do, you go, I don't know about you guys, the UK government has a website for travel, a government-backed website. So it is always very accurate. So for example, this last year, 23, we were in Asia a lot. We went to Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, blah, blah, blah. And what we do is we go on the website and we look and we go, okay, UK citizen, what's your visa? And we check that out. And then we look at extension to the visa in case we really like it. So that's exactly what we did. Check with your government website or that country's website and see how long you're allowed to be there. And then if you like it, you stay. If you don't like it, you get on the internet and see which country you want to go to next and see how long you're allowed to stay there. Look at the money, and what the exchange rate is, that type of thing. Have a look on the various apps and websites to see what other travelers think about it. We're not as adventurous as we used to be. You've got to be careful when you get a bit older with regard to your health and that sort of thing. But we do have an eye for adventure and for stuff that we've never done before. We won't usually spend our money on something that we've done and seen before. It sounds really, I don't mean this to sound conceited, but when you get old, you've done a lot and you think, well, I don't need to do another zip line, for example. You want to do something new. And our bucket list for 23 was we needed to see Japan. We'd not been there. So we went there, we checked out, how long we're allowed to stay, apply for your visa, see what kind of exchange rate you get, what's it for accommodation, what's the best thing to do, we decided on Kyoto and what's the other place? Kyoto and somewhere else instead of thank you, Mrs. C. She's in there. She nags me even remotely.
Oh, bless her. I know.
In Kyoto, because it's old school Japan, sort of, rather than Tokyo, which is the size of a planet on its own. So, check your visa extension and how long you're allowed to stay. See what the budget's like. So, 23, Malaysia, a UK citizen can stay 90 days, which is great. And what we do, one of the big differences for us is a lot of people go on vacation for a couple of weeks or a week or 10 days, whatever. With us, we go somewhere and we like to stay a lot longer, and we go there and we just be. That's not meant to be Zen. What I mean is we go there and we just try and live a bit like a local, learn a little bit about the culture and the people, and be nice to everybody, and it's great. And we stay there for a long a longer time.
Is there places that you've absolutely fallen in love with, or Mrs. C has, and you guys are like, maybe we'll stay here or make roots and stuff? Because, I mean, there must be so many beautiful, stunning places that you see. There's not one along the way that's kind of captured your attention and go, maybe fuck this travel and stuff, we'll just stay here.
I don't think I could go that far. I mean, we do love the States. We've seen 26 of the 50, and we love it here. The thing with the United States, and I realize I'm talking to probably a largely Canadian audience here, so my apologies up front.
We got some wonderful Americans watching the show as well, though.
Great.
So
Okay. But when you travel a lot, people love to not just make fun of the Americans. They like to, really, because of American foreign policy. Maybe it's Mr. Trump, maybe it's Mr. Biden, maybe it's whoever. Maybe it's Disney and what they've been doing the last year or two. Maybe it's Hollywood, But when we've crisscrossed the United States 4 or 5 times over the years, back then and recently. And I don't know whether it's because we're British. I think that's a big part of it, to be fair. But people are so nice and welcoming, and they're really, really friendly. So we do like the States. We've had exactly the same in Australia. But when you go to those little islands in the middle of nowhere, and you're spending, 30 Canadian dollars a day to live quite well by the beach and eat well, safely, warm, seas warm, the people are nice, the food's good. That is a hard to beat. And believe it or not, you can have too much of a good thing. We were on an island south of Bali for 5 weeks last June. Then we went to Japan. Had some fun there, and we liked Lembongan Island so much off the coast of Bali, we went back for another 4 weeks. But we did get an incredibly good deal from this lovely guy that we met completely out of the blue, and he gave us a deal that was unbeatable. And we would get up in the morning and just get my coffee, a little bit of Wi-Fi, go for a swim, touch myself inappropriately, whatever.
The easy life.
And those places are still out there. You can find them.
Yeah. You guys have been documenting a lot of this. You started a YouTube channel as well. It's called Mrs. C and Him.
It is indeed, Greg. Thank you for the mention. The theory there about 18 months ago was, at the time, the Google rule and YouTube rule, obviously Google owned YouTube, the rule was get, I think at the time it was 400 subscribers and get 4,000 hours of playtime. They changed it completely. So I kind of I've got like 300 videos on the channel, and there's some old stuff and some new stuff there. And it's mostly me hamming it up and making a fool of myself and saying stupid things and, making myself look, people say you're retired. I like to say retarded. And you'd see that if you went on some of those videos. But it is a bit of fun. I've had some really nice feedback from some people that say, oh, you need to write a book, you need to do more videos, you need to do, and that's very, very kind. But I'm not a proper YouTuber by any means. I can't be asked to do the editing and the farting around. I'd rather just keep it real. That'll do, and if people like it, that's great. If not, I mean, maybe it'll inspire someone, but that's good enough for me.
We've got one here. This is, I don't know where, I think this is in Japan maybe or something. You could tell me, but it looks chock-a-block on this train here, mate. Let's have a look.
Yeah. Traveling from Namba subway station to
and look at Buddy just staring at you. Look at this goddamn fly-me filming me on the train.
And it's chock-a-block in here. I think somebody just touched me inappropriately, and it wasn't Mrs. C.
You got touched inappropriately there. You must have loved that.
Traveling from...
You got another one here. Where the hell is this from? This looks pretty wild, and then we'll talk about these. This is, let me hit this tab, and then we'll hit that. This is some sort of monkey farm?
Yeah, that is that's in a place in Japan, in a place called Nara. It's about half an hour, 45 minutes outside of in Kyoto, and it's a monkey park. You go in there, there's monkeys everywhere, all over the place,
I would never leave.
and
That's
as I recall,
fascinating.
we were the only Caucasians there, I think, actually, and yeah, it was hilarious. It was really funny. They were a lot of fun. I must just say, Greg, on the comments, my son, who's on a lunch break from his work in Airlie Beach, Queensland, he's
Yeah.
just logged in. So forgive
Oh,
me,
nice.
doing a shout out to my son,
There
31
he
years
is.
old, very handsome, got his mother's looks, because
He
obviously
must have.
and I heard that, and we love him very much, and we hope to get and see him later on this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in, Case Cleaver. Look at that.
He's got an enormous penis, Greg, so he's done very well for himself.
Well, listen, I'm sure he's got no problems getting the ladies down there in Queensland for sure. Language barriers. How do you deal with that in all your travels around the world? Is it Google Translate king or what?
Google Translate is fantastic. Download the language that you want so that it works offline, and it's fantastic. And the old thing about learn a few of the basics yourself, anybody loves it. They really do, especially when you get it wrong. And smiles and hand gestures and all that kind of thing, fantastic. Goes such a long way. But Google Translate was fantastic. It was a godsend in Japan. You can get a little pocket Wi-Fi thing in Japan very inexpensively, so it translates like for like immediately, sort of thing. So that's really, really good, and it's fantastic for getting around. But yeah, that's it really. But people, it's a bit like that again, forgive me, all you Canadians, a bit like the US dollar. The English language is the one, and everybody seems to know a little bit from the movies and this, that, and the other, and if you get any problems, you just you wing it. It's not a problem.
Awesome. Safety ever been an issue on your travels? Have you been pretty lucky?
Pretty lucky. I was driving the limo in San Francisco, and there was a guy, just a drunk. That was all that was. So that was no big deal. But he did lunge at me, and I moved out the way, and he fell over, and he didn't really get up because he was so drunk. He was an idiot. He wanted to get in the limo that I was driving and take anyway. And then there was another
stolen
time.
Passports or wallets or anything like that?
No, we had a pickpocket in India that didn't get away with it, basically. I'm really sort of conscious about that sort of thing. So, some of the sort of basics are.
You were just happy he was in your pocket, Dave.
Well, yes. I mean, I was slightly aroused, I must admit. Yes. 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 It's very
good for you for a minute.
But no, not too much. There was a couple of guys in Mexico one time. Now you see, again, we were helping a friend. His mum was in hospital. I ran to a pharmacy, pitch dark, because the lights are out, the street lights, and these guys saw me go in and get this prescription in a pharmacy, and I just looked. I know it just something again. You just get that gut feeling, like we were talking with the scammers. So I ran on the way back. And as I said, natural athlete, I managed to make it okay. But they definitely had something on their mind. I think they were stoners or whatever. That's in Mexico, for goodness sake, So, but nothing really, because the golden rule is, if it doesn't feel right, if it's after dark, you just got to be doubly careful. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
I got attacked by some street dogs one time. That was a bit tricky. But nothing. Touch wood or touch something, whatever.
What place did you fit in with the best, do you think, out of all your travels? Is there some culture or a city or a country that just is your jam, Dave?
Again, I've got to be honest. We've had such great times in the United States.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, and Australia again.
Favorite state in the States? Is there one that stands out?
We've spent so much time in Florida, and because we've made some really good friends here, it's hard to kind of ignore that. We spent some time in Alaska, which was incredible.
Wow.
But Mrs. C and I aren't fans of the cold weather.
Yeah,
so
you and me both.
Yeah, nice for a visit in the summer. I'll leave it. Leave it to the polar bears. California used to be great. no longer. You don't want to go there now. There's all that shit going on down there.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the little towns in the middle of nowhere are great.
Yeah.
Same in Australia.
Cool.
Yeah.
Never been to Australia. I got to get there one day.
Yeah.
This has been fascinating. So you figure you're going to be on the road for about 5 more years and see the rest of the world, and then call it a day and go back home to England, or what's the plan?
We've got 6 more years, and the reason that's that time frame is we quite literally sat, and this goes back to your basics. We quite literally sat down 7 years ago, and we said, okay, we always said we'd do this when our son was old enough, to look after himself, and he's got his own life. We literally sat down and said, okay, this is how much I get on my pension, or how much I have. This is our savings. This is what I'll be getting on my state pension when I'm 66. And we were talking about this 6 years before I got it. This is how much we've got, the grand figure, the grand total. Divide it by however many years, divide it by the months, the weeks, the days. Give yourself a daily budget and try and stick to it. And our budget in 6 years, when Mrs. C gets her pension in England, hers and mine together will keep us going back in England. So we literally have worked it out like that. So
nice.
And you have to be very, very strict with that. And you can go outside, you can go outside those parameters when you want to do like a real bucket list thing. So like that was Japan for us last year. This year, we're hoping to do this Caribbean thing all through the Caribbean on the boat, if he buys the boat. If not, we'll figure something else out. So we'll see.
Awesome.
But I mean, to be fair, there's 1,000 travel channels on YouTube and elsewhere. Are they as honest? I like to think. I mean, I'm totally honest about it. Are they as honest and forthright with me? I don't know. You'd have to. You've got to find out.
Extend your trip, but you could start your own OnlyFans, Dave, and show your feet or something, or your nipples. Listen, to each their own, buddy. Whatever you want to show, you go right ahead. You'll be traveling for the rest of your life.
No one wants to see my tiny member. No.
Well, listen, this has been pretty fascinating. Well, we've learned a lot. The key is budget. The key is, I mean, you got to have a pretty damn good, awesome travel partner too. And I think you definitely got one in Mrs. C. That's key for sure. You guys seem to get along just wonderfully.
Extremely lucky to have her by my side. Because when you're sharing something great, whatever it is, actually all bad, even when you've got someone, you halve your troubles when you're with someone. And also, I'm really good at learning from the mistakes that people make from my advice. So, I do okay there as well.
Yeah. What, rapid fire real quick, which place smelled the worst on the planet that you've been to so far?
The worst would be India, Mumbai, formerly Bombay. I went to the bathroom. It was a hole in the ground, and a rat came out and tried to bite my bottom. And it was like you're sitting there, you go, it was terrible.
Oh, wow. Which place had the hottest women? Asking for a friend.
Okay, that would have been 1987, Philippines, in the Firehouse nightclub. Early days of MTV, and Mrs. C very kindly went in with us, that's another story. Honestly, the videoing.
Next show, next time.
Yes.
Awesome. Which place has the ugliest women? Again, asking for a friend, because he doesn't want to go there.
I would say Toronto. No, this women. Oh, blimey, that's a good one. I think everybody's beautiful, Greg. Honestly, I do.
There you go. Good answer, mate. Yeah, right. Including you. Just ask your mom; she'll tell you. What's the best food you've ever had on all your travels? Is there just something that's like, I love it?
This is just, I love. In England, you can't get decent steak and ribs. You can get that here. You can get it in Canada. Get it in Australia. That food is great, but some of the Japanese sushi was ace.
Spot on.
We like our sushi. Yeah.
Most expensive place in the world that you've been to?
Japan.
Yeah, really, eh?
Yeah, Japan was pricey, yeah.
More than Hawaii?
Well, we were in Hawaii in 87, and
sure, it was a lot cheaper
pricey back then, but that was a kind of a bucket list thing. I haven't been to Hawaii since then, So I don't know about today. Japan, you know, our budget, we doubled what we're supposed to spend. We were spending probably, including everything, food, travel, pocket Wi-Fi, and hotels, transportation, the whole thing. In Japan, we were spending probably £120 a day, which is a heck of a lot for us, because you can do it on a lot less. That didn't include the flight to get there and back, and the visa and all that kind of. Actually, the visas are free for Japan for a UK citizen anyway. Yeah.
Well, look, best beach. You've been to a lot.
Best beach. Back then it was Boracay Island in the Philippines before it got sold off by the government, and now it's not very good. Best beach now, I'd say the Maldives.
Yeah,
in the Indian Ocean. Although some of the Australian beaches are stunning, but the water is bloody freezing, and your balls actually go inside your body and they come up here. Yeah, but in the Maldives, yeah, it would have to be the Maldives. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, look, Dave, this is fun. Thanks again for taking the time to do this. You're a real treat. You're pretty funny. You got a great sense of humor, and that also, I'm sure, gets you far when you're out traveling. And people love a good sense of humor, right? It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Greg, thanks so much for having me on. It's been really, really enjoyable, really nice.
Yeah, well, enjoy the rest of your travels, you and Mrs. C. Be safe out there, and I wish you nothing but continued wonderful success on your trips. And people can go definitely check out your YouTube channel and watch some of your cool videos. We got the link keeps going off there, but it's Mrs. C and him on YouTube. They can go check out your videos. Some of them are really funny for sure. And then, of course, you got a Instagram channel as well. It's yours. It's at Dave_C57.
That's it. You got it.
Right on.
Fantastic.
Yeah, real pleasure. Take care, man. All the best.
Thank you, Greg. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye now.
All right, that's Dave Cleaver, Mr. C, and his lovely wife, Mrs. C. She is definitely the better half of those two. Way better looking, of course, as well. But yeah, great people. I got to meet them sitting by the pool having beers one day. It was my first time in Nicaragua, and I was at Mama's Hotel right on the ocean, and met this lovely couple, and we just got shooting the shit, telling some stories, and because I think they were on their way to Costa Rica, if memory serves me correct, or maybe not, I can't remember. But I had just come from, I'd spent the year, 2 months there the year before. And I think that's what we were doing. We're swapping Costa Rica tales and whatnot. But yeah, great to talk to him, catching up. He's a pisser for sure. All right, before I get out of here, a little extended tonight. I got a few good videos, dummies of the week. I can't. It's nice showing these videos, and I love getting back into it. This is we played that one. Okay, this one right here. This guy's definitely got some anger issues, and the other guy, he's got some hospital bill issues. That's for sure. Check this out. And hit play.
Whoa, whoa!
One more time. A little elbow to the throat. That wasn't enough. Wow. Full two-hander right to the face. Yikes. What else have we got? Well, this guy, he wins dummy of the week hands down. The other guy was an angry dummy. This guy, he's just a big old dummy. Ready? Watch this. Oopsie. Here we go, guys. Like, why would you even? Why would you even? That's what happens when you F around. You find out in a place where you're not strike thingy or whatever they call it. How embarrassing, dude. You're a grown man. Give your head a shake. Anyways, what a loser. Speaking of losers, we got this guy right here. He pretty much takes dummy of the week too. I'm not sure who's stupider, but this guy played that game again, F around, and well, find out. Watch this.
It was at this moment that Garrett knew he fucked up.
Oh, what
it was at this moment that Garrett knew
hits off the
he
side of this.
Up.
Oh,
It was at this moment that Garrett knew.
I think he knew
He
just
fucked
before
up.
that corner too, right
It was at this moment that Garrett knew.
Just back a bit, sir. One
He
more time.
fucked up.
Oh, that had to hurt. I forget what this last video it is, but it's the last one I got, and then I'm getting the hell out of here. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Nancy Stempen just tuned in. Dan Hiltz, Spencer Dennis, thanks for tuning in. Who else we got here? Neeler, Luca, a couple of people from BC out on the West Coast. Thanks for tuning in. Actually, Boucher's out there on the West Coast as well. We got a bunch of West Coasters watching tonight. How the hell are you? This video is, I'm not sure what it is, but we're about to watch it. Ready? I think it's funny because that's why it's here. Watch. Oh, yeah. Oh. Every time there's a lamppost right in the middle of the hill. Like, I hope Buddy was so that he didn't feel that as will the next morning, because man, no matter what, how hard you hit that, he's going a pretty good click. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark in the morning. Concussion. Oh man, well that's it. We got through another show. It's episode 275, Trippin With Bondzee. Hope you had a good time. Again, special thanks to my boy Dave Cleaver. Wonderful human. They've traveled the world. They've done it. They've sold their stuff twice. Everything they own. They've been on that road for a long time, since 2016. And they said they're going to be on the road for at least 6 more years with no looking back and no going home. So, I mean, just for a quick little visit, but man, oh man, what a lifestyle, eh? Good for them. And if you're looking to do it, go do it. Don't hold back. You only live once. And you know what? You can always come back and start again. Possessions are just that, possessions. You can get new ones. You know what I'm saying? But some of those memories, man, you can only you'll only go to some of these places once in your life. And I did it. I had no regrets. And teach their own. You have a wonderful night. We'll see you next Wednesday. It's Kojak. They got a brand new album release show coming up. They're going to come and promote it right here. They might play a song. They might not. If not, we'll play their music for them. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next Wednesday with the band Kojak. I love you, and you too. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye.
What was that? That was very strange. It was very weird. It was peculiar. It was kind of amusing. Yes, it was rather funny. It was incredibly funny. I loved it. Hilarious.
Next to go, I check the line. Next to go.
Bondzee live. Bondzee on YouTube.